In the bustling city of Lagos, there lived a young man named David who possessed the kind of looks that made people do double takes on the street. Even security guards at office buildings would pause their conversations just to watch him pass by. David had grown up in a small rural town where the most exciting event was the weekly market day. When he turned 20, he packed a single bag and told his mother he was heading to Lagos to build a career. His mother had warned him that city people were sharp and would spot a country boy immediately, but David was determined to prove himself. He arrived in Lagos with nothing but his striking appearance and an exceptionally sharp mind. While his classmates at the university spent their evenings socializing at parties, David buried himself in computer science textbooks and programming tutorials. His dedication was so intense that people thought he had lost his mind. But when graduation came, David didn't just pass. He soared above everyone else, graduating at the top of his class. Within days of graduation, a major tech company in Lagos recruited him. At the office, David quickly discovered he possessed a unique gift. His natural charm worked like magic, especially with female clients. A simple smile would make them relax, a few kind words would make them laugh, and by the end of meetings, they were signing contracts without hesitation. His boss, Mr. Adeyemi, was amazed. "David, how do you close deals so effortlessly? These clients sign with you faster than I can finish my coffee." David would simply flash his trademark smile and reply, "It's all about understanding customer needs, sir." What he really meant was that he knew exactly how to make people feel special and valued, and they responded by trusting him completely. Within 5 years, David climbed the corporate ladder at lightning speed. By age 32, he was a senior software architect with a corner office, a luxury car, and a penthouse apartment that made even wealthy friends envious. But David had developed a dangerous habit. Whenever he met an attractive woman, his brain would transform into a strategy machine, calculating the perfect words, gestures, and timing to win her attention. Women orbited around David constantly. Half of his colleagues harbored secret crushes on him. Female clients would schedule unnecessary meetings just to see him. Even the woman who ran the cafe downstairs would give him free pastries while batting her eyelashes enthusiastically. David dated constantly and casually. The accountant from the 3rd floor. The marketing consultant who visited monthly. The fitness instructor from his gym. Every day seemed to bring a different woman to his doorstep with home-cooked meals, thoughtful gifts, or claims of just being in the neighborhood. But here was David's fatal flaw. He was emotionally closed off. His heart was locked away tighter than a bank vault. He would date these women, take them to nice restaurants, make them laugh until they cried tears of joy, and let them dream about engagement rings and future children. Then, the moment any woman mentioned marriage, commitment, or their shared future, David would transform instantly. "Wait, wait, wait," he would say, backing away as if she had suddenly sprouted horns. "I never said anything about marriage. I'm not ready for that kind of responsibility. Let's just enjoy the present moment." And just like that, he would vanish, stopping all calls, ignoring texts, disappearing like morning mist. One woman, named Jennifer, was particularly special. She was a pharmacist so beautiful that customers would invent ailments just to spend more time at her counter. David met her at a technology conference and immediately went into full charm mode. By evening's end, he had her laughing so hard she forgot she had planned to maintain professional distance. They dated for 2 years. Jennifer imagined their wedding, their children, their home with a garden and maybe a dog. But whenever she tried to discuss their future, David would suddenly become fascinated by his phone, remember urgent work emails, or develop a mysterious cough. "David, where do you see us in 5 years?" Jennifer asked one evening over dinner. David's fork froze halfway to his mouth. His eyes darted around the restaurant like a trapped animal seeking escape. "Well, I see us enjoying this excellent meal right now." Jennifer persisted. "I'm serious, David. What are your intentions with us?" David laughed nervously. "Intentions? Plans. Life is about living in the moment, being spontaneous, not weighing ourselves down with heavy commitments." Jennifer's heart sank, but she loved him, so she convinced herself he just needed more time. She waited 1 year, then 2 years, while David's apartment continued hosting different women like a revolving door hotel. Finally, after 2 painful years of hoping, Jennifer decided enough was enough. She confronted him directly. "David, will you ever marry me?" David looked at her as if she had asked him to climb Mount Everest barefoot. "Jennifer, look, I care about you deeply. But marriage? That's not. I mean, we're having fun, right? Why complicate it?" "So you're saying you'll never marry me?" Jennifer asked, her voice breaking. David shifted uncomfortably. "I'm saying I don't see a long-term future together. I thought we were just keeping each other company, enjoying the present." Jennifer felt as if ice water had been poured over her. She had wasted 2 years on a man who saw her as temporary entertainment. She cried for 3 days straight, her pillow so soaked with tears it could have watered a garden. Did David feel remorse? Not really. He convinced himself he had been honest. He told himself he never made false promises. He told himself he was young and entitled to enjoy life. He decided he would settle down and marry when he turned 35. Until then, he would continue enjoying his freedom. And enjoy it he did. David changed girlfriends like people change clothes. New woman Monday, different woman Wednesday, another on Friday. His friends started calling him the collector, because he seemed to be collecting women like rare stamps. If you're enjoying this story of karma and consequences, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our storytelling sessions. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think David will ever learn his lesson? David's juggling act resembled trying to keep 20 plates spinning simultaneously. Eventually, things were destined to crash spectacularly. One particular Saturday marked David's 34th birthday, just 1 year before his self-imposed marriage deadline. David made a catastrophic miscalculation that day. He told 3 different girlfriends they could celebrate with him, scheduling them at different times. He thought his planning skills were sharp enough to manage it perfectly. Girlfriend number 1 was Angela, a banking executive. She was scheduled for 2 p.m. with lunch. Girlfriend number 2 was Joy, an interior designer. She was set for 5 p.m. with birthday cake. Girlfriend number 3 was Chioma, who worked at a television station. She was supposed to arrive at 8 p.m. for romantic dinner. David thought his schedule was foolproof. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Absolutely everything could go wrong. Angela arrived precisely at 2 p.m. carrying an enormous pot of jollof rice and grilled fish that smelled so incredible the entire floor probably noticed. She wore a stunning red dress that matched her lipstick perfectly. "Happy birthday, sweetheart," she squealed, kissing both his cheeks enthusiastically. They ate lunch, laughed at old jokes, and watched a movie, but Angela showed no signs of leaving. She kicked off her heels, propped her feet on David's expensive leather sofa, and settled in comfortably. 3 p.m. passed. 4 p.m. disappeared. By 4:30 p.m., David was sweating like someone being interrogated by police. "Angela, honey, don't you have that appointment?" David asked desperately. "What appointment?" Angela looked confused. "You know, that thing you mentioned? The important commitment." "I didn't mention anything. Today is your birthday. I cleared my entire schedule for you." She snuggled closer on the couch. David's eye started twitching. At exactly 4:55 p.m., his phone rang. It was Joy. "Baby, I'm downstairs. I have your cake. Come help me carry it up." David jumped so abruptly he nearly knocked over a lamp. "Angela, I just remembered. I need to help my neighbor. His grandmother had an accident. It's an emergency." Angela sat up straight. "His grandmother? Should we call an ambulance?" No, she just needs help. Elderly people, very delicate situation. You should probably head home. This could take hours." Before Angela could respond, someone knocked on the door. David froze completely. His soul momentarily left his body. "I'll get it," Angela said cheerfully, walking toward the door barefoot. No, David screamed, but it was too late. Angela opened the door, and there stood Joy, holding an enormous birthday cake with lit candles, wearing a gold dress that sparkled brilliantly. Surprise, baby! Joy shouted. Then she saw Angela. Her smile vanished faster than free food at a party. Angela stared at Joy. Joy stared at Angela. Both slowly turned to look at David, who stood frozen in the middle of the room, looking like a man witnessing his own funeral. Who is this? Both women asked simultaneously. I'm his girlfriend, both women answered at the same time. The cake in Joy's hands started tilting dangerously. The candles continued burning, wax dripping onto the frosting. Girlfriend. Angela's voice reached a pitch that probably disturbed dogs 3 blocks away. I've been dating him for 8 months. 8 months. Joy's mouth fell open. I've been with him for 6 months. David tried to speak. Ladies, I can explain. Explain what? They both shouted together. Joy was so shocked she forgot she was holding a cake. It slipped from her hands and crashed onto David's white carpet with a splat that sounded like an explosion. Frosting splattered everywhere. The candles rolled across the floor, still burning, until David had to stomp them out like performing a frantic dance. My cake! Joy screamed. Your cake! Angela grabbed one of her high heels from the couch. What about my relationship? She threw the shoe at David. It flew through the air and hit him squarely in the forehead. David staggered backward, tripping over the smashed cake and landing on his backside in a pile of frosting and carpet. You are a liar! Joy yelled, grabbing Angela's other shoe and throwing it at David. This one hit him in the chest. A cheater, Angela added, looking for more ammunition. A player. Joy spotted a throw pillow and launched it like a missile. David was on the ground covered in birthday cake, getting pelted with his own belongings. He looked like he was in a war zone, except the enemies were 2 angry women in designer dresses. Then things escalated further. Angela spotted Joy's expensive handbag. Is that a fake designer bag? Joy gasped as if Angela had insulted her entire family. Fake. This cost more than your car. My car is a Mercedes, Angela retorted. Your car is ancient like you, Joy shot back. Angela's eyes widened. Ancient. I'm 28. You're 28 like I'm royalty, Joy replied. They completely forgot about David and started circling each other like angry cats. David tried to crawl toward his bedroom, but the frosting made him slip and slide like he was on ice. Your wig is crooked, Angela pointed. Joy gasped and touched her hair. My wig is not crooked, but your eyelashes are falling off. Angela touched her face in horror. These are premium mink lashes. Mink. More like synthetic, Joy snapped. That did it. Angela launched at Joy. Joy launched at Angela. They grabbed each other and started spinning around the room like a violent tornado. David finally managed to stand and tried separating them. Ladies, please, this isn't necessary. We can discuss this like mature adults. Mature. Angela broke free and turned on him. You want to talk about maturity? You're dating multiple women and lying to everyone. Yeah, Joy agreed, also turning on him. At least they had found common ground. They both advanced on David. He backed up until he hit the wall with nowhere to run. I'm sorry, he squeaked. I made a terrible mistake. A mistake. Angela's eyes were blazing. A mistake is adding salt to your tea instead of sugar. This is pure wickedness. Just then, at the worst possible moment, another knock sounded on the door. Everyone froze. Who is that? Joy whispered. Please tell me that's not another woman, Angela said slowly. David looked like he wanted the earth to swallow him whole. I can explain. Another one. Both women screamed. Chioma's cheerful voice came from outside. David, baby, it's me. I brought wine and I'm wearing that special dress you love. Angela's mouth dropped open. Joy looked thunderstruck. David wished he could become invisible. "Don't open that door," Angela warned. "We have to open it," Joy said with a wicked smile. "Let's see exactly how many of us there are." Before David could stop them, Joy marched to the door and flung it open. Chioma stood there in a stunning black dress holding a bottle of expensive wine, her smile bright enough to light up the entire building. Then she saw the scene inside: 2 other women, cake covering the floor, frosting on the walls, David looking like he had been attacked by an angry bakery. "What?" Chioma's smile melted like ice cream in the sun. "What is going on here?" "Welcome to the party," Joy said sarcastically. "Apparently, we're all David's girlfriend." Chioma looked at David. David looked at the floor. The wine bottle slipped from Chioma's hand and shattered in the doorway. Red wine splashed everywhere like a crime scene. "You're dating all of us?" Chioma's voice was deadly quiet. "I can explain," David tried again. "Explain." All 3 women shouted simultaneously. Chioma walked into the apartment, her heels crunching on broken glass. "I took off work early for this. I spent 3 hours getting ready. I bought expensive wine. I made his favorite food," Angela pointed at the pot of jollof rice. "I baked a cake from scratch," Joy pointed at the frosting disaster on the floor. They all glared at David. Then Chioma did something unexpected. She started laughing, not a happy laugh, but a terrifying laugh. The kind that makes you want to run and never look back. "You know what's funny?" Chioma said, still laughing that frightening laugh. "I almost introduced him to my parents last week. Can you imagine?" Angela gasped. "I bought him a luxury watch for his birthday. It's in my car. I designed him 3 custom suits for free," Joy added. The 3 women looked at each other. Then they looked at David. Then, in a moment of silent agreement, they all smiled. David knew that smile. It was the smile a predator gives before striking. "Run!" his brain screamed, but before he could move, all 3 women attacked at once. Not to hurt him physically, but to destroy his dignity completely. Angela grabbed his expensive cologne and started spraying it everywhere like graffiti. Joy found his photo albums and started ripping out pictures. Chioma opened his closet and began throwing his designer shirts out the window. "Stop. Those are Italian leather shoes." David cried as Chioma tossed them out like frisbees. "Good. Maybe someone decent will find them," Chioma shouted back. Angela found love letters he had written to her and started reading them aloud in a mocking voice. Joy discovered he had written almost identical letters to her and joined the dramatic reading. Chioma found a 4th letter addressed to someone named Blessing and screamed, "There's a 4th one?" For 30 minutes, David's apartment became a hurricane of angry women. When they finally finished, his living room looked like a disaster movie. Cake on the walls, wine stains on the carpet, his clothes hanging from the balcony, his cologne bottles empty, his furniture rearranged to spell liar. The 3 women stood at the door together, arms crossed, looking powerful and terrifying. "I hope you enjoy your birthday," Angela said sweetly. "All alone," Joy added. "With your lies," Chioma finished. They walked out together, and David could hear them talking in the hallway. "Girl, your dress is actually gorgeous," Angela said. "Thanks. I made it myself." "And your lashes aren't falling off, they're beautiful," Joy replied. "Ladies, there's a wine bar downstairs." "First round is on me," Chioma suggested. Their laughter echoed down the hall as they left together. 3 strangers who became friends through shared heartbreak and revenge. David stood alone in his destroyed apartment, covered in cake, smelling like an entire perfume factory, watching his favorite shoes blow away in the wind from his balcony. "Happy birthday to me," he whispered sadly. He spent the entire night and next day cleaning. When friends called to ask about his birthday, he told them he had food poisoning. He couldn't possibly tell them the truth. After that disaster, David became more careful with his scheduling, but he didn't stop his ways. He just got better at hiding them. At least, he thought he did. Finally, his 35th birthday arrived. David woke up that morning, looked at himself in the mirror at the scar on his forehead where Angela's shoe had hit him, and said, "It's time to become a serious man. Time to find a wife." But David had a plan. He decided he wasn't going to marry any city woman. No way. City women were too experienced, too exposed, too difficult to control. They asked too many questions and had too many opinions. "I need a village woman," David told himself. "Someone innocent, someone pure, someone who doesn't know all these city games." So David drove his luxury car back to his rural hometown, dust flying behind him dramatically. His mother nearly fainted from joy when she saw him. "My son, you've come home. Have you finally decided to marry?" "Yes, Mama. I want a wife, but not just any wife. I want a good, simple village woman. Someone who attends church regularly, respects her elders, and doesn't dress like these modern city women." His mother's face lit up like Christmas lights. "Oh, my son, I know exactly the girl for you. Her name is Grace. She's from the Okonkwo family, very respectable people. And that girl is so well behaved that even the pastor uses her as an example in his sermons." David's heart started racing with excitement. This sounded perfect. Too perfect. "Tell me more, Mama." "She's beautiful, my son. Fair complexion, lovely eyes, and she has a wonderful figure, but she's not like these modern girls who show off their bodies. She dresses modestly. She helps her parents on their farm. She attends church 3 times weekly. She's exactly what you need." David could barely contain his excitement. Finally, a woman who hadn't been corrupted by city life. A woman who would respect him. A woman who didn't have a complicated romantic history. The next day, David and his mother visited Grace's family compound. Grace's father, Papa Okonkwo, was a large man who always kept a handkerchief ready for wiping sweat. Grace's mother was a quiet woman who smiled often but spoke rarely. When Grace came out to greet them, David almost fell off his chair. She was absolutely stunning. Her skin glowed radiantly. Her eyes were modest and didn't meet his directly. She spoke so softly that he had to lean forward to hear her. "Good afternoon, sir," she said, curtsying like royalty. David was sold instantly. This was it. This was his dream woman, innocent, beautiful, respectful, and untouched by city chaos. "Papa Okonkwo," David said, puffing out his chest. "I would like to marry your daughter." Papa Okonkwo's eyes widened. A wealthy city man wanted to marry his daughter? This was like winning the lottery. "My son, you are most welcome. Grace is a good girl. We have raised her properly. She will make you an excellent wife." They set a date for the wedding. David drove back to Lagos feeling like he was floating on clouds. Every weekend after that, he would drive back to the village with gifts, expensive fabrics for Grace's mother, premium whiskey for her father, perfumes and jewelry for Grace herself. Grace would receive each gift with shy smiles, her eyes always downcast, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you, sir. You're too kind." David loved it. This was exactly what he wanted, a woman who knew her place. A woman who wouldn't challenge him or ask difficult questions. A woman who would make him the king of his household. Wedding preparations began in earnest. David sent money for everything. Rent canopies? Done. Buy a cow? Done. Get goats? Done. Hire a band? Done. He wanted the biggest wedding his village had ever witnessed. The day before the wedding, his friends from Lagos arrived in the village. They were city guys who found the village both hilarious and fascinating. "David, my guy," his best friend Samuel shouted. "So you're really doing this? You're finally leaving the market." They all laughed and teased him mercilessly. That evening they dragged him to the local palm wine joint to celebrate his last night as a bachelor. The joint was just a wooden structure with benches, but the palm wine was fresh and sweet. "Man, after sampling every flavor in the city, you finally chose plain vanilla from the village," Samuel joked, and everyone roared with laughter. David laughed too, feeling proud. You people don't understand. City women are trouble. They're too smart for their own good. But a village woman? She'll respect me. She won't stress me with constant questions. They were laughing and drinking when someone gasped. Wait, isn't that your bride? David looked up and saw Grace walking past with a clay pot balanced on her head. She was going to fetch water. Why is she fetching water the day before her wedding? Samuel asked, confused. David waved his hand dismissively. That's how village women are, hardworking and humble. Not like those lazy city women who can't even boil water. But something bothered him. A tiny worm of doubt started wiggling in his brain. After all the women he had dealt with, after all the games he had played, David had developed a sixth sense for trouble. I'll be right back, he told his friends and quickly followed Grace at a distance. Grace walked with the pot on her head, moving gracefully down the path toward the stream. David stayed far behind, hiding behind trees like a detective in a movie. He told himself he was just going to surprise her and help her carry the water back. That's all. Nothing suspicious. When Grace reached the stream, David hid behind a large tree to watch. And what he saw next made his blood freeze. A young man was waiting at the stream. The moment Grace saw him, her entire personality transformed. The shy, quiet girl disappeared. She dropped the pot, ran into his arms, and hugged him so tightly that David thought they might merge together. Then they kissed. David blinked hard. Maybe he had drunk too much palm wine. Maybe he was hallucinating. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. They were still kissing. I miss you so much, Grace said, and her voice wasn't soft anymore. It was loud and clear and full of emotion. But I have to marry him. His money will help my family. My parents are forcing me. The young man looked heartbroken. But Grace, you promised. You said you would wait for me to finish my apprenticeship. You said we would get married. I know, Grace said, crying now. But what can I do? My parents gave me an ultimatum. Either I marry this rich man from the city, or they'll disown me. And you're not ready yet. You can't even support yourself financially. So you're just going to marry him? Just like that. Grace wiped her tears. Listen to me carefully. I have a plan. I'll marry him, but I won't get pregnant. Not yet. I'll make excuses. After a few years, when you're established and have money, I'll divorce him and come back to you. We just need to be patient. David felt like someone had hit him in the head with a hammer. His perfect innocent village woman was planning to use him as a temporary ATM machine. The girl who was supposed to be pure and untainted was standing at a stream plotting like a scheming politician. The young man wasn't convinced. Grace, this is wrong. You can't play with someone's life like this. Do you want us to be together or not? Grace snapped. This is the only way. Just trust me. They hugged and kissed again, making promises to each other while David watched from behind the tree, his heart breaking into tiny pieces smaller than grains of sand. When Grace finally filled her pot and left, David emerged from his hiding spot. He walked straight past the palm wine joint where his friends were still drinking and laughing. He didn't stop when they called his name. He walked directly to his mother's house, went to his room, lay on the bed, and cried like a baby. His mother heard him and knocked frantically on the door. David, what happened? Did someone die? Are you sick? But David couldn't answer. He cried all night long. All the women he had hurt, all the hearts he had broken, all the tears he had caused, everything came back to him like a boomerang. Karma had arrived, wearing a pretty dress and speaking in a soft voice. The next morning, wedding preparations were in full swing. The compound was decorated with colorful ribbons and balloons. The band was warming up their instruments. Grace was in her room getting dressed in her beautiful wedding outfit, covered in coral beads that clicked when she moved. David's mother came to his room, already dressed in her finest wrapper and headgear. David, wake up. We need to go for the ceremony. Everyone is waiting. David came out, but he looked terrible. His eyes were swollen like overripe tomatoes. He wasn't even dressed in his traditional wedding attire, just wearing a regular shirt and trousers. My son, why aren't you dressed? We're late. David looked at his mother with exhausted eyes. Mama, I can't marry her. That girl is a snake hiding in the grass. I followed her to the stream yesterday. I saw her with another man. They were kissing and planning to use me for my money. His mother's mouth fell open so wide a bird could have flown in. What? Our Grace? The church girl? The respectful one? No, it can't be. Mama, I saw it with my own 2 eyes. She's planning to divorce me after a few years and return to her boyfriend. She's only marrying me for my money. His mother sat down heavily on the bed, her fancy headgear nearly falling off. But she seemed so good, so well behaved. Mama, we need to cancel this wedding. I'm not marrying her. They drove to Grace's compound together. When they arrived, music was blasting from speakers. The goats that would be slaughtered were tied in the corner, looking nervous. Guests were already arriving, dressed in their finest clothes, ready to eat free food and dance. When people saw David enter in regular clothes instead of his wedding outfit, confusion spread like wildfire. Papa Okonkwo rushed over, sweating more than usual. My son-in-law, why are you not dressed? The ceremony is about to start. David looked Papa Okonkwo straight in the eye. There will be no ceremony. I saw your daughter yesterday at the stream with another man. They were kissing. She's planning to marry me temporarily and then divorce me to return to her boyfriend. The compound went so quiet you could hear ants walking. The band stopped playing mid-song. Even the nervous goats stopped bleating. That's impossible. Grace's mother stammered. Our daughter would never. Call her, David said coldly. Let her come and explain. They called Grace out. She appeared looking like a bride from a magazine cover, her wedding outfit shimmering in the sunlight, her face beautifully made up. Grace, Papa Okonkwo said, his voice shaking. Is what this man saying true? Were you at the stream yesterday with another man? Grace froze. Her painted lips trembled. Her carefully styled hair seemed to droop. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Then, like a dam breaking, tears started streaming down her face, ruining her makeup. David turned to her parents. Your daughter is not who you think she is. The wedding is cancelled. I'm going back to Lagos. He turned around and walked away while the compound exploded into chaos. People were shouting. Grace was crying. Her parents were yelling at her. The band packed up their instruments. Guests started leaving to spread the juicy gossip throughout the entire village. David drove back to Lagos in complete silence. When he reached his apartment, he broke down again. He couldn't go to work for a whole week. Everyone at the office thought he was on his honeymoon, living his best married life. They had no idea he was in his apartment crying and thinking about his life choices. For days, David thought about every woman he had hurt. Jennifer with her kind heart. Sandra who had baked him treats every week. Michelle who had introduced him to her entire family. Patricia who had waited for him for 3 years. All the women he had used and discarded like empty bottles. This is karma, he whispered to himself. I broke so many hearts, and now mine is broken too. The heartbreak made him physically ill. One day, he collapsed in his apartment. Luckily, his security guard found him and called for help. David woke up in a hospital bed, hooked up to machines that beeped rhythmically. A nurse was standing beside his bed, preparing to give him an injection. When David's vision cleared and he saw her face, his heart nearly stopped for real. It was Jennifer. Please don't kill me, David shouted, trying to jump out of bed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. Please don't take revenge. Jennifer looked at him like he had lost his mind. Kill you? Why would I kill you? I'm giving you medicine, not poison. Calm down. But I broke your heart. You must hate me. You want revenge. Jennifer started laughing. She laughed so hard that other nurses came to check what was funny. David, that was years ago. I moved on. I'm married now. See. She showed him her wedding ring, which sparkled under the hospital lights. My husband and I are expecting our first baby in 3 months. I don't think about you at all anymore. David felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. While he had been playing games and running around, Jennifer had found real love. She had moved on. She was happy, and he was alone, sick, and miserable in a hospital bed. I'm sorry, he whispered. I was stupid. I wasted your time. I was selfish and cruel. Jennifer's expression softened. She patted his shoulder gently. I forgave you a long time ago, David. Actually, I should thank you. If you hadn't broken my heart, I would never have met my husband. He treats me like a queen. He can't wait to be a father. You actually did me a favor. After David was discharged from the hospital, he became a different person. He apologized to every woman he could remember hurting. Some forgave him. Some slammed doors in his face. One woman poured a bucket of water on him while screaming, "You will die alone, you heartbreaker." David accepted it all. He deserved it. At work, he stopped flirting. He focused on his job without using his charm as a weapon. His female colleagues were shocked. "What happened to you?" they asked. "Did you join a monastery?" David just smiled sadly. "I grew up. Finally." And that's how the most handsome heartbreaker in Lagos learned that what goes around truly comes around. The village woman he thought would be easy to control had outsmarted him. The city women he thought were too cunning had actually been honest about their feelings. And in the end, he was left alone with nothing but regrets and expensive furniture. David never married. He focused on becoming a better person, treating everyone with genuine respect, and using his gifts to help others rather than manipulate them. He learned that true happiness doesn't come from collecting hearts. It comes from cherishing the one heart that chooses to stay with you. Thank you for watching this complete story of karma, consequences, and redemption. What did you think? Did David get what he deserved, or did he deserve a second chance? Please like this video if you enjoyed the story, subscribe to our channel for more compelling African tales, and share this with someone who needs to hear this message. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, take care and remember, treat others the way you want to be treated. Goodbye for now.